Detailing in the winter. Here are 3 simple tips to help you detail in the winter. Now this is geared toward detailing businesses. If you're an enthusiast, yeah, some of these tips can help, and I'll actually show you a couple of things for enthusiasts that will really make things easier if you have the budget for it. But these are for my fellow detailers who own businesses, because you can't just stop in the wintertime and not detail. Well, some people can, but if you can't, this video is for you. Now here's the vehicle we're working on. We're doing a full detail, no polishing, no paint correction, no ceramic coatings. This is our simple full detail. This is called our Diamond. Go check it out on our website. Now the car we're dealing with really is not too bad. This is about the extent of the filth on the vehicle. It's really not too bad. So we're going to deal with the leather and the light carpets. Oh, but these are bad. Oh yeah, always the door jambs in the trunk lid area. That is always horrible. So what we do in this case for door jambs and trunk lids is we'll degrease it. We'll brush it down if needed. You can blow all this out or vacuum it out if needed. Or you can simply go in with your pressure washer, and I'll show you how. Will it make a mess in here? Not if you're careful, but it does take time and some practice to be able to wield that pressure washer wand like a blade. Oh, that's pretty gross too. Yep, wheels are pretty bad. I hate it when that happens. Now the first and kind of obvious tip is use hot water. Don't be afraid to use hot water, and I mean really hot water, tap water that is, not using a hot water pressure washer or steam washer, but hot water from the tap, which can generally get up to 120, 130 degrees depending on how it's set. Don't be afraid to use hot water on vehicles, even if they are cold. You're not going to crack the glass. That happens to your dishes, not automotive glass. So you can use hot water, and by the time it hits the paint, hits the air, it's going to cool down dramatically. So don't worry about that. It's more for your comfort level. And yes, it does help with cleaning as well. Let me show you my setup. But if you don't have this setup and you don't have the budget for it, then simply fill up your buckets with hot water and use that. That's what we used to do in our mobile detailing services. If you want to check out that winter detailing video, then check out the card above. I share more tips for my mobile guys. But these winter tips are for winters in the south, because we're not in the Northeast. We're not in areas where we get extreme cold temperatures and extreme snow and we have to completely shut down. We have a few cold days, maybe a week tops, and then it bounces back to warmer weather where we can actually detail outside. But as you see, we do have a shop here in our garage, but we still have to wash cars outside. So let me show you my setup. First of all, I do fill up my buckets with hot water, as hot as I can get it, because it's going to cool down once you start using it. So you can do the same thing. If you're mobile, we would just fill up 3 to 4 5-gallon buckets in our trailer and put the screw caps on them, which is really nice, and it would keep them really nice and warm. And I do share another really cool tip, a cheap tool that you can use to keep your water hot. So I share that in that first video that I linked in the card. Now when it comes to our setup, if you want to see the full video for the setup, I will put that in the card as well or down below. This is the AR Blue 630 Hot Water Edition, which means it can take up to 180 degrees of water intake. Now, is that going to put out 180 degrees? Not necessarily. It does, again, cool down dramatically. But still, we're talking about at least 100 degree plus water that's coming out of your pressure washer hose. Now, I do not run that through the DI machine. The DI machine is for cold water only for maintenance on dark colored vehicles in the summer. That's when I use this. So I don't run the hot water through this at all. That's why I have a bypass system here, which I need to plumb a little better. Ignore that. But basically the system works incredibly well. We get to use really nice water. It's not really hot water, it's more like very warm water. That does help with the cleaning, and it just helps with the comfort level. Everything warms up here, which is awesome. Now I have a tankless water heater, and I piped it here into our system, so I can simply turn that on, make sure everything is locked in place here, and get to work. Also, wheel bucket filled with hot water. Now, what happens if you don't have access to hot water and you're in a country or an area where it's really cold and snowy all winter long? Well, the fact is, you're going to need hot water to be able to wash a vehicle outdoors. If you try using cold water in cold temperatures, well, for one thing, it's not going to be enjoyable at all, and you may not get the results that you want. So if you're a professional detailing business, then invest in using hot water. If you're at home detailing, use hot water from the tap. If you're in a shop environment, hook up hot water in your shop. It is going to be a lifesaver, trust me. Another bonus tip is use hot water in your foam cannon. You're going to soak your entire vehicle in nice, warm, soapy water. That's going to help break down dirt and grime faster, and again, it leads to a more enjoyable wash. So after the wash process is done, you can use a heated blower. So this little handheld blower doesn't advertise that it's heated, but any of those blowers actually do heat up the air as it travels through it, and you get nice warm air. You can invest in dedicated heated blowers, and those are great also. So the exterior is cleaned and deconned. Now we're going to start on the interior, and I'll show you a couple of tips for that as well. So another obvious tip is dress accordingly. That's kind of an obvious one, and you wear whatever keeps you warm. Thermals are always a good idea. Make sure to get good boots. Don't just wear sneakers. But I actually bought these Timberland low-top boots that are steel toe and water resistant. They're not necessarily waterproof 100%, but you can make them semi-waterproof by spraying protection on them. So do that every few months. Keep the protection on those boots. That way you keep your feet dry and warm. Now, if you can wear gloves, as in nitrile gloves, do that as well. I can't wear nitrile gloves for long periods of time. My hands break out, so I can't do that. That's why you don't see me use gloves in a lot of my videos. I get contact dermatitis, and it's horrible, and it'll last for months. But if you want a good pair of gloves, I'll link them down below. This company by GloveWorks makes some really nice, thick nitrile gloves. They work awesome. So I'll put a couple of different links down below. You can choose what you want. So for protection, we're going to machine apply a strong sealant. This stuff will get you through the winter months. It can last up to 6 months plus. Actually, it's rated up to like 9 months. This stuff is great for mobile detailers. It was designed for mobile detailers because Phoenix EOD and Miranda Detailing collaborated on this product, and we made a product that works in the sun for mobile detailers. So I prefer to machine apply. This is my preferred method. Applies nice and thin, easy application, and easy wipe off. And again, this is very, very quick. The reason I like to machine apply is it will get rid of any light marring left behind by the clay barring or the clay mitting. It's going to happen, so this actually works to kind of lightly polish that away. Now, the choice of protection is completely up to you, but I will give you a tip. When you are clay barring the vehicle or using the clay mitt, especially on darker colored vehicles, you may notice that it will mar the paint up just a little. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to go through an entire polishing process, but just using a little handheld cordless polisher like this one does help to remove that marring left behind by the clay bar or the clay mitt. That's why we machine apply a lot of our waxes and sealants after we clay bar or clay mitt the vehicle. If the vehicle was already pretty smooth and we didn't have to extensively clay bar it or use the clay mitt, then we'll opt for a spray sealant or a spray protectant of some sort. So this depends largely on the condition of the vehicle. So you're going to have to determine what to use in any given situation. Now, another important thing for winter detailing, in fact, winter driving, is making sure your glass is clean, especially your windshield. So I do have a video on cleaning your windshield. I'll put that up in the card. That's more for summer, but the same principles apply. So use those techniques to clean your glass inside and out. However, we're going to protect the outside of the glass, but you see that smudginess right there? That's actually on the inside from a suction cup used on the glass for a phone holder or GPS. And that didn't come out with glass cleaner, so we're going to use an adhesive remover. Now for protection of the glass, you have many different options. You can use Rain-X, which is actually really good as long as your glass is prepped and cleaned. You can use a glass coating, many different options. I have lots of videos on those as well. For quick application and for maintenance every time you wash your vehicle, HyperClean's glass cleaner has protection built in. It has a polymer built in. So you can use this to clean your glass, and then you're adding protection as well. Do this every time you wash your vehicle, and you're going to have protection on here constantly. You can clean your wiper blades with it as well. And yes, you can clean the inside of your glass with this. Now, is it going to add that anti-fog protection? It can, but I don't trust those products. The best thing to do is simply clean your glass inside and out constantly. It's a constant struggle. It's a battle. I know. If this is just your personal car, it's annoying, but get a professional or learn how to do this properly. That way you're not fighting it all the time. I see people rubbing towels or their hand on the inside of the glass. It's just creating a smudgy mess. Also, just learn how to use your defroster inside your vehicle, because in colder temperatures, when your vehicle goes from cold to hot, it's going to create a fog, and it's just moisture. So don't touch that moisture. Do not try to wipe it. Turn your defrosters on, and it'll get rid of that moisture. Now, if it is a fog on the inside, which is basically a residue from your dash and from things heating up and over time, that's different. That needs to be cleaned off every single time. I know, it's a struggle. That's simply the way it is. Some companies claim that they have these products that really stop that fogging all the time. I tried so many of them and they simply don't work, or they're really difficult to apply. Just clean your glass. Something like this that does have some light polymers in it does help tremendously. So use a glass cleaner that has protection built in and it will work great. In fact, you can use O&R as a glass cleaner, and you can also use American Detailer's Garage Wipeout, which I have used in the past and I still use it from time to time. That is excellent. That again does have polymers in it and it works great as a glass cleaner, and keeping the glass nice and slick as well, so it's easier to clean. It reduces smears and it reduces that fog or residue buildup. So we also tackled the inside and cleaned it up. Now, again, a simple tip is start the vehicle and blast the heat. If it has heated seats, blast those heated seats. It's going to make the entire detailing process comfortable. If you can fill up your bottles of chemical with hot water, that also makes a big difference. Using a steamer is also great in the winter. It's going to warm everything up. Of course, it lends to cleaning better, but remember this third important tip. Do not oversaturate the carpets or fabrics in the vehicle. Of course, in colder temperatures, everything is going to take longer to dry. And if you oversaturate things, it'll take a long time for them to dry. Of course, if you need to, then you need to, but you also will need heated dryers to dry it up quickly, because you don't want to leave a wet seat or a wet carpet for your customer to have to try to dry out later. comes to extracting, if you have to, if you have no other way and the carpets definitely need to be extracted, then here are a couple of tips. Obviously, hot water is your friend. Use a hot water carpet extractor, use a steamer, whatever you do, make sure to heat everything up. In this case, I do have this little Bissell here. It's not the heated version, and I need to get the heated version. And I'm using the little Bissell because it's just these mats. I'm not doing any extensive shampooing, so I'm not going to pull out the big machine. But I did fill the little tank here with hot water, the hottest I can get from the tap, and we're going to use it to extract. Now, once again, I am not oversaturating this with water. The water that's going to be coming from here is simply going to be sucked up, and you want to leave these in the sun if you can, if it's sunny out, but don't oversaturate these. Again, in cold weather, it's not going to dry fast enough. So I'm going to give a light mist over the entire thing, and in some areas a little heavier.
So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below, and visit our redesigned website. We have a new shop page on there as well, where you can actually purchase different products right from the website. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you in the next one.